governors we've ever had in this state, and a great senator, George Allen.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, patriots all, good evening. It's great to be with you all, and it's great to see such a great turnout of people from all over Central Virginia, great friends, great freedom fighters, and leaders for our cause. It is great to see this turnout because tomorrow Virginia is going to be able to make history. We're proud of our 400 plus years of history. Through it all those years, Virginia's always been ones who want to have an impact on the future of our country, and we're going to have that opportunity tomorrow, setting the course for our party and indeed setting the course for our country. And my friends, these are perilous times, consequential times. We're at war. And when we're at war, one looks at the president in his preeminent position, and that is commander-in-chief. And there's no person in America better to lead this country as President of the United States than John McCain. And while the other side, the Democrats will, with their raving cohorts, will be criticizing General Petraeus and our troops, John McCain is real character. Last year, in the recent years when this war and the surge strategy was not politically popular, John McCain said, "I would rather lose a political campaign than see America lose a war." And I know there's a lot of good conservatives here, and you always are grousing about the waste of your money up in Washington. There is no man or person that I have seen more tenacious against wasteful Washington spending than John McCain, and I can guarantee you as president, you'll see no bridges to nowhere being funded, you'll see no indoor tropical rainforests in Iowa, and you'll see no museums to Woodstock, and he'll relish, President McCain will relish vetoing that wasteful, unnecessary. He's a man who trusts free people and free enterprise, has very good pro-growth ideas to make sure our country's more competitive for investment, for innovation, and for jobs. And when it comes down to the choice this November, the other side's going to nominate someone who will want to surrender and retreat in Iraq and in this war against these vile, hate-filled, intolerant terrorists. They will be for more bureaucracy and more taxes and more dependency on government. They will be nominating, if they had the chance, liberal activist judges. Rather, I think all of us believe we ought to have a president who will stand strong, support our troops, support our families, have success in Iraq, and welcome our troops home in victory rather than defeat. We'll want a president who will lead this country towards affordable, reliable, clean American energy. We'll want a president who will stop the wasting of your dollars. We want a president to reduce the tax burden on the American people, and we want a president who will nominate conservative judges who know their role is to apply the law, not invent the law. What we want is John McCain. And now, for the formal introduction, I'm going to present a great American hero that Virginians love and has loved for many years, and we thank him for his unending, tireless service to our country in the cause of freedom. A man who, like all of us in Virginia, tomorrow will be voting, standing strong for freedom. A man who has done that his whole life. The senior senator of Virginia, John Warner.
You haven't changed a bit. I used to tell you you spoke too long in all your speeches, George. But George, you're back in great shape and we love you. It's my privilege, and it really is with a great sense of humility, that I get to say the few words necessary to introduce John McCain. John and I go back a very long way. During the war in Vietnam, I was privileged to be Secretary of the Navy when John was in the prison camps. I came to learn about John McCain through reading almost daily intelligence reports. And then on my trips to Vietnam, I'd stop in Hawaii for his father, that wonderful mother who's campaigning by his side everywhere in America today. I learned about John through the eyes of those two wonderful parents. And when he was released in 1973, I was one of the among those who greeted him. And we've been working partners for 35 years together.
Wow.
Like George, I can vouch for this man's honor, this man's integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, we're fortunate in America today that we have this strong candidate, one who will take and restore America's dignity and credibility all over the world, and it can lead this nation back to its greatness that we so rightly deserve. That's John McCain. And you're here tonight, each and every one of you. As old Ronald Reagan used to say, you know, democracy is not a spectator sport. You got to get out of it and roll up your sleeve and be counted.
Amen.
And we thank each of you for coming here. Now, I'll tell a little story about Ronald Reagan. He used to come down to my farm because he loved to get out of Washington and ride horses. And I had a barn full of horses and a lot of land. So he'd come down, he'd ride with me. Then we'd go back to the house and we'd have a little drink of lemonade. And I sat down there one day and I said, Mr. President, what is it about the presidency that you feel is the most challenging thing? And he said to me, he said, John, by your bed is a phone. And if that phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning and you answer, and that solemn voice would say, Mr. President, we've got a problem. There are hundreds of Americans whose lives are at risk. Mr. President, the military is ready to move out with your instructions and orders. But Mr. President, I must tell you, if we do so, it's a question of whether or not sovereign rights, which have to be violated to save these people, could cause turbulence in the world. We need a man who needs no on-the-job training to answer that phone and give the right answer. John McCain has trained every day of his life for the awesome responsibility of Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you that next Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.